Hello and welcome back to the sideboard here at Star City Games San Diego. I am joined by Kevin Long, and he is bringing a deck from, I don't know, 6-7 years ago.
Something like that.
It's an old dog, but it has some new tricks. This is Armageddon Stax. Tell the folks at home what's going on.
Well, the basic premise started with you want to play Smokestacks. So the best card to pair with that is Crucible of Worlds. And the synergy between Smokestacks and Armageddon and Crucible is through the roof. The very first instance of this deck played Magus at the Tabernacle, but I thought that didn't cost enough money, so I've been playing 2 Tabernacles. And I've updated it for the current metagame. I think it's pretty good. I mean, by far the most important card in the deck is Chalice of the Void.
Right, so let's talk about Chalice of the Void. It's an interesting spot in the metagame right now because Bug Delver has been picking up a lot in popularity. Previous to that, you had things like Terminus and sneak attack that are sort of like these huge casting costs that you can't really Chalice. But now that Deathray Shaman and Brainstorm are back on the forefront, Chalice becomes a good card.
Well,
again.
with the upswing of counterbalance in the metagame, Chalice also becomes great, but it also beats the counterbalance.
Yeah. The other interesting thing is that now that Bug Delver's popular, Burn's becoming more popular. Also good against that deck.
Also insane.
Yeah. And so some of the new tricks that this deck has are, the first one I want to point out is Trading Post.
Yeah.
Trading Post is, it had its time in the sun for about a month in Standard. It's that close to being playable in Modern. The format needs to slow down just a bit, and then once Signets become playable, it becomes a playable card. Yeah. But by far the best success I've seen it have is in Legacy.
Yeah, it's actually pretty insane in this deck. I mean, I've used every option on it multiple times today. I think Gaining Life has been the most common. But I've played Goblins twice, so makes sense.
Have you been able to attack with 1/1 goats under Humility?
No, not yet. It's a goal.
That's on the list. Another interesting card in this deck that people might not be familiar with is Sundial of the Infinite.
Yeah.
Explain the Sundial of the Infinite purpose.
So Sundial is basically there as a win condition with Smokestacks. You can, in response to your Smokestacks triggers, ramp it up and then end the turn, and then they're just sitting with 5 sacrifice triggers on their upkeep. It has some other sweet synergies in it, like getting 2 city traders in play at the same time. There's an achievement for that somewhere. And good against like Vendilion clicks and stuff like that. So, but it is an actual win con with Smokestacks.
Nice. Yeah, because they can't do anything, so they just draw their deck.
Yeah, and it even better if you have a Trinisphere in play, then they actually can't do anything.
Right. And so this deck does look like just a pile of expensive cards, but it's very synergistic together.
Yeah.
All of the pieces work together. It's not just, I mean, it's a little bit because you just wanted to play all of your shiny cards, but the Armageddons work well with the Crucibles, work well with the Smokestacks, work well with everything. They all pieces together.
Yeah.
And then out of the sideboard, against decks that perhaps don't really care about some of your more prisony aspects like, Dredge, for example. You can sideboard into Helm of Obedience, Rest in Peace.
Yeah, it's been actually pretty good for today. I've helmed 1 person out of the game. Rest in Peace is just far and away the best graveyard hate piece card ever printed.
Right.
Like, it's ridiculous. So just having access to that is really good.
So you bring in you bring in Rest in Peace against the decks that either Nimble Mongoose decks or decks that rely on the graveyard in one way or another.
Yeah.
You always bring the Helm in with them?
Basically, against Thresh, I'm pretty good in the main deck. Like Chalice on 1 normally is end of game. But against certainly Dredge and other, even Storm, there are some times when you just want to race them with Helmline and see if you get there.
Sure. And so, we haven't seen this deck in a while. Do you think that this is a deck that can come back? Is this a good metagame for Stax?
I think it is. Any metagame that's good for Chalice of the Void is good for Stax.
Sure.
You have the downside of you might lose to yourself a lot, but it's so much fun to play, and it's so sweet that I don't really care.
Right. So if you're looking to play something awesome at your local Legacy Open or your local weekday event in Legacy, try Stax on for Side, because I haven't played it in a while, and this is making me, all the shiny cards are making me want to play it again. So thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me.